this past summertime, whenever there's a breakup, there's an opportunity for growth. There's an opportunity for new things. There's an opportunity for new people, for new jobs, for new relationships in your life. And especially at this time, as I'm talking right now, we're right around a new moon, and we'll be around a new moon when the eclipse comes. And that'll be an excellent time for just getting rid of things you don't need. This will be around December 26th, getting rid of things you don't need, getting out of bad situations, essentially putting into motion some of the dreams you've had over the past year, some of the frustrations you had over the past year. And I've spoken to a lot of people, and a lot of people are waiting for good things to happen. And the trick to this is when you have windows like this, sometimes good things will come in automatically. They'll come straight to you. Other times you have to reach out and seize the opportunity. You have to actually go forward and say, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to live my life. This is what I need to do. So there'll be a grand opportunity between roughly December 26th and the middle of February to essentially blast away things that are holding you back, blast away and take chances. Now again, these changes can make you feel very insecure. I'm not going to say there's not a downside to them. They'll feel very, very uncomfortable. And if you want to stay living the same kind of life you have been living, there's no fault, there's no harm, there's no judgment on my part if you want to do that. I'm just saying this is an opportunity window. It's a good opportunity window. And if it's something that you just feel you can't really live without, you'll wonder what your life was like if you don't take this chance. Now is the time to take it. There'll be other times as well. I mean, this isn't the only window of opportunity. You can make opportunities all over your life. You don't just have to wait for these openings in order to manifest them. But these openings make it easier to manifest them, to be honest. So anybody who can display any courage and make changes in their life over the next, and the eclipse effects usually last around, I say conservatively, around 3 months. Less conservatively, a lot of Indian astrologers say around 9 months. So you have this entire window of opportunity between roughly December of this year and August of next year to make changes. The only caution I would give you, and this is just caution from experience and being in these kinds of circles over the years, is basically there'll be a lot of what I would call false teachers or people who'll offer to guide you for a lot of money. And so anybody who's been around for a few years kind of knows what I'm talking about. For those of you who are younger, there are an entire generation of people who are legitimate teachers who can come forward and give you good advice on what to do and how to overcome your barriers and your problems. There are a bunch of phonies out there as well. So whenever K2 is with Jupiter, it opens the door for teachings. It opens the door for good teachings. It opens the door for phony teachings. And so you'll have to be a very selective purchaser, a wise consumer over the next 9 months of anybody who comes forward and say, hey, I have a solution to your problems, and comes to this seminar and it'll work for you. With Venus moving into Capricorn, there's less chance to do that, but when Venus moves into Pisces around April and also so in a square to Ketu and Rahu, and when Venus moves into Gemini in the summertime, there'll be more opportunities for those fraudulent teachers to come along. So just be careful who you listen to. Anybody, and I include this among astrologers, anybody who looks at your chart or looks at you and say, you wasted your life, or you have a bad chart, or you have this curse and that curse on you, listen to them politely, sift out that information, because nobody's truly cursed. If they're reincarnated, they may have some karmas to deal with. They may have some points in their life that they have to make up, but nobody that I've seen is truly cursed. Especially not people who can afford astrology readings, because I've met people. So we're talking about people who have like bad lives. If you think you have a bad life, then think about people who don't have enough to eat. Think about people who don't have a roof over their heads. Think about people who have horrible diseases, and are born with horrible diseases. Those are rough lives. Okay, because you can't get the man or woman of your dreams, it's important. I'm not saying it's not important, but that's not really the definition of a hard life. That's the definition of a person not getting what they want. And us not getting what we want, although we're entitled to get everything that we do want, and I fully believe that, us not getting what we want is really more a matter of either adjusting ourselves or adjusting our expectations. And that doesn't mean you have to settle for less, but you have to figure out what you're doing yourself in order to drive away things you want in your life and attract things you don't want in your life. So that's not a curse. That's an action that you can take control of and that you can change. One of the things, and I've said this many, many times, one of the things that drew me to Indian astrology or Vedic astrology was they had an entire set of remedies a person could use in order to modify their life. They have gemstones, they have mantras, they have a variety of, and there is a variety of methods like spiritual sadhanas you can do, spiritual practices if you're inclined, and they're not necessarily just limited to the Hindu religion. You can do spiritual sadhana with other religions. You can do behaviors. You can do a variety of things which will allow you, to take control of your life. So you're not just a victim of your chart. And anybody that tells you that is really I wouldn't trust them as an astrologer. I'll be quite honest with you. Just from my perspective, I'm not saying they're bad astrologers. I'm not saying they don't know their trade. I'm saying they don't know how to counsel or how to advise or how to help. And part of any astrological practice is being able to help. Now, to talk about areas around the world, which I normally talk about, we just had earthquakes in Bosnia, and Eastern Europe, which I hadn't predicted earthquakes, but I predicted that part of the world would have a very tough time of it. But I'm looking at the knowledge chart for December 26th, and I'm going to go over it and repeat some of the things I said before, and then I'll go to January 10th. Okay, so if we're looking at charts, and I will post more videos over the Thanksgiving weekend. Let me see now, and I have to go special report. All right, thank you for bearing with me. All right, so the areas which seems to show the most problems from this particular eclipse, and again, keep in mind, eclipses aren't the only things that cause problems in a chart. Basically, it has a lot to do with the country's chart itself, and with other events happening. But Hong Kong looks like it's going to be particularly hard hit. Japan, parts of the southeast, particularly over Mississippi, and up through Ohio and that part of the United States and going into Canada. The other parts we're looking at are Brazil, Venezuela, Colombia, and we're also looking at some Mars lines over Spain and over, and also some problematic areas in France and the Netherlands and Germany. And also, again, Saudi Arabia and Iran seem to be being hit particularly bad. There is a Sun, Moon, Jupiter conjunction over Turkey and over Egypt. So that can actually mean some disruption in the capital in Turkey. Again, a lot of astrologers tend to leap automatically to earthquakes and natural catastrophes, but this looks more like governmental disruption to me for Turkey. So I think that overall from the chart, the places I'd focus most on would be Russia, Arabia, Madagascar, a little bit, it looks like a little bit of violence in Western India, and also a lot of governmental disruption and disobedience in China. China's had kind of an interesting history. I do see some difficult years ahead for China. If we go ahead to, let me just go ahead to January 10th. And I'm not going to talk about the impeachment just because I don't want people to hate me. Actually, I don't think he'll hate me. I think it's actually silly to hate anybody over politics. It could just be my age, but I just think it's silly because politics are changing all the time. All right, so the eclipse on January 10th. Rahu is with the Moon, Mercury, Jupiter, Ketu, and Sun, and Saturn are in Sagittarius. Venus is actually in Aquarius by that time, so that's actually a good thing. Venus is in a favorable sign. And so Venus is in a favorable sign with Capricorn as well. So actually Venus tends to be what I would call the salvation of the chart during these eclipses, because it'll be in Capricorn, which is a favorable sign during the first eclipse, and it'll be in Aquarius, which is a favorable sign for Venus, during the second eclipse on January 10th. And this is a lunar eclipse. So essentially, what we're talking about, the areas of the world which look most troubled during that particular time are, so we're seeing a Saturn line, a Sun, Mercury, and Saturn line right over Saudi Arabia, so there'll be some problems with the government, some natural catastrophes or economic disruption in eastern Turkey, not in western Turkey. And Rahu passes over Greece, Eastern Europe again, so again there's another chance of an earthquake or a panic, some kind of a natural catastrophe out there, unfortunately. Mars in the United States, let me work logically around the globe from there. Mars is over, again, it's over India and Pakistan, so I think there'll be some fighting between those two countries around that time, or definitely threats of fighting. Maybe some internal violence in India, unfortunately. And you have eclipse lines running really right over Hong Kong and Western China, or Eastern China, excuse me. And also you have a Saturn line pretty tightly in conjunction with that. So that looks like a difficult few months for China. The other parts of the world, if we work from west to east, which I'm tending to do right now, you have Rahu's over Alaska, so there's definitely going to be some kind of a problem or panic over Alaska and Hawaii. And we have a Venus line over Arizona, so that's really not a bad line at all. It's a relatively easily accommodated line. Mars is over Louisiana and Mississippi, so there may be some kind of a violent death. And again, keep in mind when I'm talking about these, I'm talking about a line that's going up like basically like this through the country. So it's topping off in Ohio. So any of the states in between Louisiana and Ohio could be affected. So we're talking about Tennessee, we're talking about Kentucky, we're talking about even as far north as Michigan being affected by those, and even into Canada. Also, we have, again, eclipse lines in Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, that area of the world. It doesn't look like it's going to calm down very soon at all. And last but not least, Eastern Europe, we have a Mars line, in Western Africa. And I'm trying to look for any other bad lines. And so we're back to Turkey and Egypt, and so those are all the bad areas I can see right at the current time. If we're talking about charts of individuals, so let's say if a person's in Aries, they should actually get a lot of opportunities over the next few months. So this is Vedic Aries, so this is April 15th through May 15th. A lot of opportunities, some blocks or obstructions at work, but also largely some good luck coming their way. More travels, more outside the office work. For Taurus is going to get unexpected inflows of income. This is May 15th to June 15th, and also they'll want more money, but luckily, with Venus being in the two signs in which it's deposited over the next couple of months, they'll actually get it. Gemini has had a rough couple of years. Saturn's finally moving out of the sign. There's still some confusion about what Gemini wants. Gemini is a little bit overextended right now, and it probably will be until around August. So that's between June 15th and June 16th. But they will have more romantic opportunities. They will have more financial luck. They'll start to actually expand and have a little bit of overseas influence. Cancer is going to go through a good month in December and gain some hidden assets in January. But I think you'll also see them having a lot of work rivalries come up in their face over the next few months. Leo will have great opportunities for relationship, although December will be a little bit more problematic for Leo than January will be. And you'll also see more luck coming in through hard work and through generating efforts. So this sign, if it's courageous enough, can achieve a great deal over this next month. Virgo is going to have some domestic issues because of all the planets located. So life at home will seem to fluctuate between very easy and very tough over the next couple of months. And you'll start to see it getting much easier in December, much tougher in January. Libra, this is an important month for Libra. So we're talking about people born between October 15th to November 15th, or in my case, I have a Libra ascendant, and some people have a Libra moon. All those signs, this is a time to make changes, to grab what you want to do and go after it for these individuals. So it doesn't mean just me, but anybody who has prominent Libras in the chart, prominent Libra characteristics in the chart. And again, this is Vedic Libra, not Western Libra, although some Western Libra does overlap. Scorpios will finally have some financial opportunities. It'll be hard fought. There'll be some family issues over money, but largely they'll start to draw some money in, and they'll actually feel more polite and less confrontational than they have been over the past few months. And also, a lot of Scorpios have been feeling a lot of pain. That'll start to ease up over the next couple of months, so that's a relief for them. For Sagittarius, Sagittarius still doesn't know what its direction is. To be honest, that'll probably continue until around August. They're in the same boat as Gemini is, but at least they won't be so worried or stressed out about it because they'll realize that waiting was a good thing. They'll start to open themselves up to new possibilities. They won't be so micro-focused as they have been over the past few months. For Capricorn, Capricorn will have a lot of expenses this month, but they'll also have a lot of income coming in, so that'll sort of balance out, and that'll go into February. For Aquarius, Aquarius should have a relatively good month. They'll have a lot of exchanges with people overseas, a lot of activity with people who are in distant countries, but they'll also have a lot of income coming in and feel very happy in January. But they will have some problems with friendships. So friendships will seem to be variable, though they won't seem to be as stable as they have been. For Pisces, Pisces will have work responsibilities like crazy. And this counts for anybody who has a prominent Pisces in their chart, whether it be Moon, Ascendant, even Navamsha. The Navamsha chart is a special divisional chart used in the Indian astrology, which is why I recommend you get a reading. Okay, but basically, Pisces will have a lot of work thrown at them. They'll be able to handle it, but it'll seem overwhelming at times. I'm going to wrap it up there. I want to wish everybody who sees this after Thanksgiving to have a great Thanksgiving and a wonderful holiday season. I think over the next year you're going to be surprised as some of the things are coming in. There will be a lot of short-term conflicts, a lot of short-term disputes, maybe even some financial panics, but these are not going to be long-lasting events. And again, I like giving the sun sign forecasts, but they're general forecasts. I can give you a much better idea in that, and I'm not just, or see any astrologer really, and they can give you a much better idea of what's happening personally to you in your chart specifically, as opposed to the sign overall. For some people, these are enough. This is fine for them. For other people, they want more detail, and they should see an astrologer. I've been doing it for 30 years. I've been doing astrology professionally for 30 years, so I think I'm pretty well qualified, but you may have your own special person. So that's it for this week. I'm signing off. You can see me at Crystal Expectations, and I'll say adieu for now, and also namaste. All the best to you.